Well, welcome to the In the Minute podcast brought to you by Geico. Bundling makes it easy, more ways to save with over 85 years of saving and service. And Tony, it's Dallas week. Here we go again. But you know what? It's like mom's the word. Nobody has got that energy that you all used to have when you played Dallas.
The excitement is not there, and what you have to worry about is this has been something that's been transpiring over the last 4 or 5 years, Donna. And as you know, it's always been a big week. Now, here we are on In the Minute, our new podcast, and we can't be excited the way we want to be for the simple aspect the team is not exciting right now. Everybody's looking at, let's don't say anything and make Dallas mad. Let's just try to get out of the game.
Yeah, Tony, it's crazy because I was out there at practice this week and talked to some of the offensive linemen, talked to Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel and some of the defensive players, and they had a lot to say about this Dallas game coming up. And I asked one question about what was the major concerns going into this game, and some of the players said that they didn't have any major concerns. And we'll take a minute right now, Tony, and let you hear what they had to say about Dallas and meeting up with Dallas and the concerns that they didn't have. And I was like, what? You don't have no concerns? Although Terry said his key things they had to
What do
say.
you think is the biggest concern right now on this team going in to face Dallas?
I don't think we have a lot of concerns. I think we're very optimistic about going in there. I think it's going to be a very passionate game, very physical game. So, I don't have any concerns. I don't know if anybody else does. I believe in this team. I believe in the coaches, and I believe in the players. So I believe we can go out there and really, show our best selves, and I'm confident in that.
It's more about the mental reps, I would say, and just talking to them always talk to your quarterback. What do you see there, being on the same page. We do a lot of walkthroughs, which helps a lot here because it's again just mental reps, as many as you can. Always playing the game in your head.
What would you say was the biggest concern right now for this team going into this game against Dallas?
I just feel like our physicality is definitely something that we're emphasizing. Playing 4 quarters is obviously something that I've said multiple times, but I just think playing complementary football is one thing that's really important. As offense, I think we could continue to create more explosive plays, sustain drives so the defense isn't on the field as long as they are. Hopefully they could create some turnovers for us to give us some short field position and special teams with the return game giving us favorable field position and flipping the field with Tress and the kickoff team. So just playing complementary football is one of the things that stands out right now that I think we could do a better job of, and I think we're going to try to do that this week.
I don't think we have any concerns, really. I mean, it's just about, playing great football. Everybody doing their job, attention to detail, just winning your one-on-one matchup.
In the NFL, especially once Wednesday hit, you don't even think, you're not thinking about last week whether it's a win or an L. So just preparing, getting ready. Coach talk about being where your feet are, taking advantage of every practice, every walkthrough, every meeting. So that's all we're doing.
Hey, Kendall, when you look at this game against Dallas and look back at some of the things that you want to correct, what is the main focus this week?
Just correcting your mistakes. Sometimes that's little things like techniques and stuff like that. Like I said, I know for me, I talked about last week, just being one step in better position so I can go up with the receiver instead of waiting on them to go make a play. And stuff like that can be little things that you can do to work on and stuff like that. So you work on it during the week, and you prepare, look at what they're doing offensively, seeing what they're trying to do, seeing how they're trying to get their guys the ball and things like that. So it's definitely a new week and new preparation.
And Kev, the focus this week taken on Dallas is what?
I mean, just being a more physical team, attacking them, you know what I'm saying, hitting them in the mouth first so we can get on them early and just keep our foot on their neck.
I think what their plan is, getting the ball out quick will be great, but at the end of the day, this is a game where you got to beat your man across from you. So we're going to be in situations like that, and have to do a good job of that.
My biggest concern right now is winning. I'm not too much worried about the yards right now or how many carries I get. My biggest focus right now is winning. Changing this program around as a team. So right now, I'm not frustrated. It's early in the season, and we still got plenty of time to change things.
They were giving us the looks that we were practicing all week in practice. We knew we were going to get. It was just pure execution, and just guys trusting in the process and then doing your job.
If you take a look at it, yeah, they don't feel they have anything to worry about. But when you're 1-2, you've been outplayed. You gave up 9 sacks. You're not running the ball. You're playing an opponent right now that one of you guys are going to go down and probably be at the bottom of the poll. And you're talking about you're not concerned? The mistakes that was made, what is happening on this team, that's why they're being made. Now, what was interesting on our show the other day when we had those ex-players on there, Brian and a few others, and each and every one of them would say, they look at it as not just the players, they looking at it as the whole total situation, coaching and everything. And I think that's the way we have to start looking at it, because if my players come to me telling me they have no concern, and we just lost a big game, we gave up 9 sacks, and we're 1-2, we're last in our division, then I have a problem.
Well, Tony, they did say that they had confidence in the team, the coaching staff, the organization, and all those good things. But the key thing is, we go back, we talked a little bit about on the show, well, a lot on the show about the offensive line and Carson Wentz, and everybody was talking about when Deck went down, Cooper Rush came in, and he's had rallied that team as far as gotten them 2 wins. So we talked on the show about the offensive line and, how beat up they are. And this week they brought in Nick Martin. He's the center, and getting him up to speed to be able to play in that Dallas game. And he said the more reps and everything that he has. But when you look across the offensive line, what would you do? I mean, I know Jason Campbell broke it down somewhat, but I'm curious to know if this team is going to put a tight end to help with the blocking, because don't you think Dallas's defensive line is pretty good?
I think Jason said it well, and I do that. They need to hold in a extra blocker each and every time. The tight ends aren't making this tremendous plays because they don't have them into the program like that. And what I'm looking at, protection is more important. What you have to do is protect them. Looking at the offensive line, I'm still looking. If anyone come up available, I got to get them in, for the simple reason you can't win with this line right now. Maybe the continuity is not there. Maybe they're young, or maybe the talent's not there right now. But you are right in the part of the season, whereas if you don't pick it up right now, before you know it, you could be 1-5. And we don't want that.
Well, that's what I was saying, Tony. As far as the Dallas, you had a divisional game against the Eagles. This team got down, and we talked about the last couple of weeks, the offense, and I ain't got on your defense yet, because I'm going.
Oh, here you go. You know what, Donna? You talking all that smack. You've been pretty quiet for Dallas week. You usually be talking all kind of stuff, and I guess we scared as well. No, we're not scared. Like we doing right here on In the Minute, we do on Tony McGee's Pro Ball Football Plus, we tell you the truth. And Donna, I don't think the fans are even really into it right now, because we don't know what we have.
Let me tell you what, Tony, I've been tweeting. I tweeted out that the Commanders are going to wear their black uniforms. They're breaking out the black uniforms. I took a picture of the helmets and everything. And so I went on Twitter and asked the fans, hey, what do you think about the black uniforms with them, sporting them in this game against Dallas? And I said, do you like the burgundy? Do you like the black? Do you like the white? Or you don't care what color they wear, as long as they, play better and get a win. Man, you should have seen the fans on Twitter talking about, you said they ain't saying nothing. Oh, yes, they are, Tony. They was like, they don't care about no uniforms and everything. They want this team to play well. They want a W. And some of the fans said that they don't really like the black because this team is burgundy and gold. That's the colors. And Coach Rivera was asked on this week about breaking out the black uniforms, and he said that it was just a situation where the season is changing. I really didn't understand why they got black anyway, Tony, because that's not the colors of this team. I mean, what's your thoughts? And maybe you like the fans. I don't care what colors they wear, just as long as they play better and get a win.
Well, you know what, Don, I digress back to 1982 or 83. I think it was. We were going down to Dallas. We needed a win big time. And that's when we were the Washington Redskins. We went down there, and most of the guys wore Army fatigues because we went down there for battle. I think what they're doing right now is they're wearing black because they want to intimidate. But one thing about it, you can't intimidate with a uniform that the job is not being done, and you intimidate with a player that's making the plays. That's what they have to do. And you know what? I'm not going to be easy on them. Changing the uniform, change the attitude. Don't worry about it. Like I said, don't worry, but don't ride the horse, ride the cowboy. That's what we want to do.
Hey, Tony, you see, I got my fatigues on today
yeah.
because I come for battle. But you know what? The black could be looked at in a different way because it could be death. You know, when you talk about dark colors, it's you can really play with that. It's almost like, oh, you coming in black. We get ready to black you out. It's almost like a death sentence and all of that.
Intimidation, intimidation.
Well, guess what? Intimidation don't mean nothing with a color. You better come and, like you said, you better bring it hard. I mean, I came for battle today. I put on these fatigue because I know what I was going to have to deal with you when I talk about the defensive side of the ball. Because, Tony, we talk so much about the offense, the beat up offensive line, the struggles there. But we haven't talked about the struggles over on the defensive side of the ball. What's your thoughts on what's happening there? Are you pleased with what you're seeing? And I know you're going to be talking about just because you was a defensive player. I want you to tell the truth to the fans. Please, Tony, just tell the truth.
I think I do. You always the one that out there with the erroneous information, but no,
I only tell the truth.
Let me just tell you this. When you look at this defense, and this is just my own idea looking at them and looking at what had transpired over the last few weeks, what has happened with the coaches, different coaches leaving and everything, coaches making statements, what's happened with players fighting on the sideline. To me, if you look back 3 years, this defense had never been a squad. And when I say a squad, that's a team that play together. That's a part of your team. You have three of it, offense, defense, special team. I've never seen that continuity that you need to see. As a defense, you have to be coordinated just as you do on the offense. And right now, that's the big problem to me. It just looks as if the coaches aren't really coordinated with the players aren't coordinated. You have anger on both sides. I mean, that's the first time, and I don't know when I've ever seen two players fighting on the bench or hitting each other, the two star players. And right then,
they made up, Tony. They made up.
I know it, but we were supposed to see a coach get in there. So that's what I tell continuity. I know that's all over because I fought a lot of players. I never fought during the game, but I fought them in practice every time I got a chance. So what I'm looking at, this team, this defense, you have to become a squad. You have to play together. You have to depend on each other. When it's a play over, you need to see 7 black jerseys around there. That's what you're going to wear. You don't see one person miss a tackle and they get a touchdown. I just don't see the whole thing. So what I think is good to maybe get together, and they need to do like we did. When we used to have a little bit of problem, we get together, go out, have a dinner, do something just to bring our teamwork and our thought process together. They need that right now. But you know what, Donna? You tell me, looking around the league, it seemed as though none of the top teams, no one is really playing outstanding right now. If you had to look at, we talking about the Bills, we thought they were going to be good. Look how they're losing. Kansas City, Tampa Bay, barely. You know, just look at the things that are going on. And right now, to me, the league doesn't look good. Those games last week were so boring, most of them. And I don't think they weren't boring because of great defense, a great offense. They just weren't good games to me.
Hey, Tony, you said something, back when we were in preseason. You said because they don't hit in training camp, they, as far as the way the practices are set up right now, teams are almost, when they start the season, the preseason has been cut to 3 games. Teams start the season and they're playing catch up still. So in the first probably 4 weeks, you're basically seeing teams still trying to get together, the hitting, really putting their schemes together, and really playing solid football after those 4 weeks. So it's almost like you're seeing what you've seen in the past few years when you all used to hit in practice. You had 2 days practice, you had scrimmages in training camp. They don't do any of that stuff now. And so it's kind of like soft when they get into the regular season. They're still trying to put all those pieces together that you all put together during training camp. So in the first 4 weeks, like you said, it's almost like sloppy ball, bad play. But I got to go back, Tony. Some of those games were good. You got Kansas City and Tampa Bay coming up. Tom Brady, I know everybody's talking about this is the GOAT and everything, but he looks like he slipped some, and that Tampa Bay team looks like they slipped a little bit. But Kansas City, you know what? Don't count them out. Now they transitioned some of their quality players they're with other teams now, but you can never count Kansas City out with a Patrick Mahomes. But Patrick Mahomes has to be savvy this year because he doesn't have Tyreek Hill or some of his weapons that he had before. So the go-to players that they had before, he said that they don't know now. It's almost like scheming things now. You can't count Buffalo out, Tony, because Buffalo to me has all the pieces. They were missing like 5 of their defensive players. So Miami, I want to ask you, are they for real too, or they was getting ready to run him out of town, and they've got new life now. They 3-0.
Well, Donna, it's just like you. All over 20 years, you've gotten 2 or 3 years right. We can't call you
I got them all.
You can't call you a pro, but if you take a look at it, and I think what you said is really important. Training camp, we had 6 weeks of tour-days. We had practices. We hit almost every day. Now, I know physically that was not good for us, but it made us mentally and physically tough. At the same time, now they do not even allow them to hit during the season. When we did not, if our offense didn't get over 100, 150 yards rushing during the week, we would scrimmage. We would hit. And I think that makes a player tough. Now you see guys running around in shorts. So really, this is an extension of training camp right now. They're getting schematically ready. They have to see schemes, what you want to do, and then physically they have to get ready. We'll see better ball, but right now, I'm just being very truthful. I played the game for 14 years, and I'm not one of them say, in my day, I'm talking about what needs to be done right now today.
In this day.
This day.
Okay, Tony, before we leave out of here, and we want to remember that Geico, this is being brought to you by Geico. Bundling makes it easy, more ways to save. Over 85 years of saving and experience, 85 years of solid service, Tony. And people can listen to this podcast on wherever they listen to their podcast. And they could also catch us on our YouTube channel in the minute. So, Tony, you're the coach right now. You're breaking down, you're putting together the scheme this week to meet up with the Dallas Cowboys. On the offensive side of the ball, you're the coach. What would you do? On the defensive side of the ball, on the front of the defense, as far as the linebackers, the secondary, you're the coach right now putting together this scheme to get this win this week. Talk to me about what you would do overall.
I have a young quarterback, so whereas I'm going to make the game easier for him, I have offensive line that I've had 2 or 3 people hurt. So, what you're looking at, and you got a quarterback on that side. So let's talk the Dallas side first. I'm looking at their young quarterback. What do? Blitz him every time you get a chance, make him have to think about it. Now you go to the quarterback on our side, you see he can make plays, but at the same time, he needs a running game. So if I'm the coach, I'm going to run the ball at least 25 to 30 times this game. I'm going to be physical. I'm going to go out there.
And could you tell Gary that you're going to run the ball?
Yes.
Could you tell Gary Clark that again? You're going to run the ball.
Well, Gary's caught up with the pass. He's just like the ball. He's flighty. He want to stay in the air. But at the same time, I'm going to run the ball. Defensively, I'm bringing people from all angles because I got a young quarterback that, if you let him sit in there, he'll be okay. If you look at any young quarterbacks coming into the league, the first year that they're in, people do not have them figured out. But you give them a few games, they'll figure them out. So what I'm going to do with this quarterback is make him think. I'm going to make him play. So defensively, not just for the defensive linemen, I'm going to bring linebackers. I'm going to blitz. We used to bring Darryl Green on blitzes a lot of times even because he had the speed. You make that quarterback wonder as well as the offensive lineman where you're coming from. And as I said, offensively, I'm running the ball 25 to 30 times. I want to hit my tight ends in the middle so I can make those linebackers back up off of the line of scrimmage. That makes the running easier. And when I'm going to tell my defense back, don't let them get behind you, and I'm going to go after the quarterback. That's the 4 things I would do. 2 for the offense, 2 for the defense. For you, I'll go out and get the correct information, and we will study. I put it in crayon so you can
Hey, Tony, you just rattle off a whole bunch of stuff. But Tony, have you almost sounded like a coach. You hear me say you almost sound
almost
a coach.
That's only good in horseshoes now.
Hey, Tony, what players on this Commanders team has impressed you so far on the offensive side and the defensive side?
Well, I'm going to see how knowledgeable you are. As you talk about the defensive line, there's been one player that's been consistent.
Deron Payne.
Oh, you got it. Somebody who's in telling you that. Somebody is Rick Walker over there talking in your ear, or his wife or somebody.
Hey,
how did you figure that out?
I watched the game. I watched every detail about the game, and Deron Payne, they didn't want to pay him, but he's saying, you know what? You didn't want to pay me. I'm going to show you why you should pay me, because he's been solid. I mean, Monte Sweat, they said that he's getting double teamed, but you got to get more from these players. Who's impressed you over on the offensive side of the ball?
Let's go back to this double team stuff. I don't want to hear that. I played on a 3-man line. Everybody got double teamed.
You say you don't want to hear it.
Get there. Terry Lauren would be the one that I would look for, and I don't think they look for him early enough. I think he's always can set the tone. If you're not going to run the ball, I'm going to both of those wide receivers. I'm going to stretch the field out. And as I said, I put the tight end across the middle so I can make my linebackers back off, and that'll make the running game better. But I look at the wide receivers, and I think that's important. And defensively, I just got to get everybody on the same page, as you said. But Payne has really been playing good ball, and I know he probably can even play better, but you even go back to last year and the year before, he has been very consistent. And when you get a big defensive tackle that can rush inside, that really makes your whole defense that much better.
Well, Tony, here's a little scoop for you. Out at practice this week, Terry McLaurin said that him and Scott Turner had a private conversation, and people were asking about them getting him involved sooner. And that's when he said they had that private conversation. And he said that it's not so much about him getting balls and whatever, but he wants to win. But they, I'm curious what that conversation was about, but they did talk and everything. And you heard it from right here, Tony. The scoop that you don't know. I mean, I'm out there in the trenches finding out what's going on.
Oh, my heart bleeds for you. But let me just tell you this. Now, I did not hear that to now. You said I'm almost a coach. Wasn't that what I just said?
I said you almost sounded like you were a coach. I didn't say you.
But you know what? I'll tell you what, and you hit a good point, though, because the coaches got to step their games up, too. And we kind of said that in different ways. But when your team is going bad, and either front office even they got to step their game up. Everybody, down to the janitors at night, everybody need to step their game up, because this is teamwork. And when you go to the Super Bowl, or you're trying to go to the Super Bowl, that's the ultimate. So everybody on your team got to give their part of that. And I don't see that with everybody on the team. I don't see that with every coach. I'm not naming no names or anything, but I think they have to become a team, a squad, work together, and they can get it done.
Well, you know what, Tony? It's that time for us to run out of here, because we've gone over a minute. And, we'll be coming back next week to see if we're talking about this team being one win still, or if they get another W up there in the Big D. So, again, listen to this on your favorite podcast. And this is being brought to you by Geico. And Tony, don't listen to nothing he says, because you already know.
That's all right. Y'all can see us on our show, Tony McGee's Pro Football Plus, if you want to hear about it. 38 years of telling the wrong stuff, but we think we got it right. And we'll be back next week.
In the minute.
All right.